legends, and we are back, Australia, all right? We might have taken a little bit of a hit with the absolute robbery. The robbery that was Steve Erceg over the weekend. That's what happens when you go all the way over to Mexico and beat up the Mexican over there. You land more significant strikes in every single round. Do not allow Mexican judges ever to be judging against an Australian ever again. That is what happens. Not this time, though. This time, Alexander Volkanovski versus Diego Lopes is going to be back in the land of the free in America. And we are going to win every single round on significant strikes. And then the judges are going to give it to us. I'm kidding. I'm just joking around, all right? I'm kidding about how the Steve Erceg fight turned out, all right? Well done to Brandon Moreno. Well done to Mexico. It was a great fight. I'm just playing around, okay? Yeah, look, I think I handled the loss of Steve Erceg fairly well. I think I handled it very well and really managed my emotions throughout that entire process. Anyway, it's time for Australia to look to the future, and that's going to be Alexander Volkanovski. He's going to be winning his belt back, and that is almost certainly a guarantee. I very rarely like to use the word lock, but this is 100% a lock, okay? Look, it is going to be a hard fight for Alexander Volkanovski, a very, very difficult fight for Volkanovski, but let us just look at Diego Lopes for a second, okay? A lot of people are saying that Diego Lopes, he's got great striking, but he's also got great grappling as well. And I think that's the first hole that I want to poke in the pro-Diego Lopes narrative, all right? How he's going to beat Alexander Volkanovski. Yeah, we're in the grappling, you know? The grappling is not even going to touch Alexander Volkanovski. To be fair, the grappling is the least of Volk's problems. Let me explain to you why. There's a man out there called Brian Ortega. Brian Ortega, one of the best featherweight grapplers, one of the best featherweight jiu-jitsu artists. Brian Ortega is a better grappler and jiu-jitsu artist than Diego Lopes, all right? And Brian Ortega couldn't even hurt Alexander Volkanovski in any position when it came to the grappling. Yeah, he had him in a sub for a little bit, but Volk just clenched down on his bottom jaw and got through it. The problem with Alexander Volkanovski is, for the jiu-jitsu guys, he's too small. He's too much of a ball of muscle. Yeah, you can't beat him on just pure skill because you've got nothing to crank on, nothing to choke. He's just way too tight. He's way too defensively sound. So then if you can't get him on pure skill, you've got to, maybe get him on weight and grit and strength. Yeah, but Islam Makhachev weighed more and was stronger than Alexander Volkanovski, and Islam Makhachev is good enough to submit Charles Oliveira, and not even he could control Alexander Volkanovski that well. And you might be like, what do you mean they weighed more? What do you mean they weighed more? Look, yeah, they both came in at 155 pounds, but if you got two athletes and they're shrinking down to 155 pounds, Islam Makhachev is shrinking down from here. Alexander Volkanovski is shrinking down from here to 155 pounds. But then when they rehydrate, one of them on fight night is obviously going to be rehydrating heavier. So on fight day, Islam Makhachev is taller and stronger than Alexander Volkanovski was. And apart from that fourth round where Islam was just holding on to a triangle the entire time, Volk was doing very well at getting up from underneath Islam Makhachev. And at the end of the fifth round, it was Alexander Volkanovski that was posturing up over Islam Makhachev. It was Alexander Volkanovski that was raining down the ground and pound over Islam Makhachev. It was Alexander Volkanovski that was going to be winning the fight if it was going into a sixth round. The old Nate, where's my Nate Diaz army? Where's the Diaz army? Stand up, Diaz army. If there was another round, that fight would have been over. If this was a street fight, that fight would have been over, right? You got to use discernment. If there was a sixth round, Alexander Volkanovski would go down as the greatest fighter of all time. That is going to infuriate the Dagestani fans out there. But you cannot be seriously telling me that you somehow think that Diego Lopes has got better top pressure and better submissions than Brian Ortega, that he's got better wrestling than Islam Makhachev, yeah? If you think that Diego Lopes is somehow better than a mix of Brian Ortega and Islam Makhachev, I need to consider whether or not your brain is actually working at 100%. You know, you shouldn't be put in charge of any mechanical objects if you think Lopes is better than Brian and Islam, okay? You shouldn't have a driver's license, quite frankly. You should stick to e-scooters, mate. Yeah, your future should be scooting around, right? You should be on scooters from now on. So then where does that leave Diego Lopes? How can he beat Alexander Volkanovski? Where Diego Lopes does have a path to victory, and we have seen the odds already come out for this, and the odds aren't exactly Juliana Pena versus Amanda Nunes. You know what I mean? Like, this isn't exactly a peak Peyton Talbot level hype train for Alexander Volkanovski. People are giving Lopes a very good chance. So where does that come from? It comes down to the striking. Look, Alexander Volkanovski likes to play a very dodgy game at striking range. Very dodgy game. And what do I mean by that? I mean, he gets clipped in every single fight. In every single Alexander Volkanovski fight, and as you go back and watch these fights as you all prepare for Diego Lopes, you'll see that there is a shot that lands during the fight, and every single time, and even earlier on, you know, in his championship run, there were multiple shots in every single fight where they land right on the chin. Even Korean Zombie got him with this shot. It lands right on the chin, and Volk stops his little step in, and he goes, "That was a good one, mate. You got me there a little bit. Well done, mate. That one stung me a little bit." Yeah? And there are certain things that happen to you as you age up as men. As we get older as men, things change in your body a little bit, you know? Number one, you'll never have a full night's sleep in your life again. You'll be getting up to piss, okay? Number two, standing up off the couch without it sounding like you are doing a deadlift becomes completely fucking impossible, all right? And getting punched in the face by a top 5 featherweight is probably gonna fucking sleep you as well. Alexander Volkanovski is without a doubt in his later years of life, right? So if Diego Lopes comes out and puts that clean one of Alexander Volkanovski, I don't think this time he is going to have the chance to say, "Well done, mate, you got me there, you got me a little bit." He will probably go to sleep. His chin is simply not going to recover anymore. At this age, after the last 2 savage knockouts that you just had, Volk, I don't care if you sit around fucking barbecuing for the entire year, mate, okay? That is not going to magically put testosterone back into your chin. Even the images that we're seeing now of Volk, where he says he's feeling better, he's feeling fired up, he's never been training any harder, he's never had a better camp. Yeah, mate. Right? I've listened to enough Tony Ferguson interviews to know how this story ends, okay? The physique just doesn't look the same as it did 3 or 4 years ago. That is just the natural state of aging. He should get on testosterone replacement the moment that he puts the gloves down in the cage. And this is where the scariness gets to me as an Alexander Volkanovski fan, okay? Because coming up through the rankings, all the way up through the Jose Aldo fight, even in the early Max Holloway fights, back when the fans used to hate him. People forget, man, but the fans fucking hated Volkanovski. He really did heavily rely on his grappling. He didn't mind being the shorter, stockier, heavy guy that was bulldog-esque, pushing people up against the cage, getting all Mario Batista with them, you know? Getting in some inside shots to the body, getting in some foot stomps, just making it a dirty, gritty fight. Volk didn't mind doing that at all, and the fans loathed him for it. And that is when Volk was exclusively training back in Sydney, because he sort of got into MMA through wrestling when he was trying to keep fit during the rugby off-season. But then, towards his championship run in the center of his career, the Anzac cancer started to rise up a little bit. This cancerous culture in Australia and New Zealand that I like to call city kickboxing. And someday someone from city kickboxing is going to run into me at an event and shit is going to hit the fucking fan for how much trash I've talked about CKB. But they are a cancer on Anzac MMA culture. They are mid as fuck. And in their minds, they are the fighting nerds. They think they go out there and absolutely sleep everyone. But what CKB actually does is they go out there and fight at a mid-range kickboxing level, and they end up getting pieced up by anyone that can just pressure forward through the center. And Alexander Volkanovski has unfortunately fallen sick to stage 3 CKB cancer. Okay? Just because CKB could produce Israel Adesanya, who could go on a dominant run against Paulo Costa and Marvin Vettori and Yoel Romero, doesn't mean you're the second coming of AKA or Shooter Box, right? It was simply the right gym at the right place and the right time and the right era where middleweight was mid-maxing. So Volk changed his style from grappling to a sort of kickboxing CKB-esque sort of a style. And he's trained with them more and more and more and more. And yeah, it is fun to watch, but that K1 style of kickboxing, you know, it does very well against mid-level guys outside of the rankings, but as we just saw with Allberg against Jan, once you start to get all the way up into the top 5, once you start to really get up in there, you know, the higher level, that ultimate fighting challenger level, MMA is still dominated by the gritty wrestler that's willing to go forward. That is just MMA, and rangy kickboxing still loses to that meta. So I hope and I pray that Volk doesn't fall into that CKB style, especially after his last fight with Ilia Topuria was going so well. You know? And again, I can hear the shock through the screen. Like, what do you mean the fight with Ilia Topuria was going so well? He got slept. What I mean is, in the first round, right, when it was just a stand-up battle between Alexander Volkanovski and Ilia Topuria, Alexander Volkanovski won the first round. He won the first round. But then what happened in the second round? He got caught. He got caught. And when you have that kind of situation where you're beating the champion in the first round, it's very tempting to fall back into the idea that you've still got it and it was just a lucky punch. And that anyone can land a lucky punch against me at any time. That's just the game we play. In fact, I've heard Volk say those exact words where he believes that he is undefeatable to anyone on the roster except for a lucky punch. Do not play that game with Diego Lopes, Volk. That is Diego Lopez's path to victory. Do not play that game. Get gritty with it, get messy with it, get Mario Batista with it. Get in there and smush, brother, smush. Father's plan, brother. Because Volk's got that style where he likes to do that step-in flurry, where he makes you wonder, is he actually going to commit to it this time, or is he just getting you to bite on it? And he gets the opponent to drop their hands, because sometimes it might be a step-in flurry, sometimes it might be a takedown. That's perfect MMA, but everyone always figures out his rhythm eventually, and they land that shot on him, and he goes, good job, mate, good job, you got me. Every single time, they figure out his rhythm just once. And it's not a lucky punch, it's the way your style is. So lean on the grappling, Volk. Lean on it, okay? Lean on the grappling. You have got enough fan credits where the fans love you so much that if you make this a dirty, boring fight, the fans are still going to cheer for you. Yeah, you're going to lose some credit. You're going to lose some points. You're going to lose some aura. There's going to be some people whinging and bitching, but overall, you're still enough of a fan favorite to get through one. And then if you call out Movsar Evloev straight away, the fans will just be happy that we have some action and movement again. It'll feel like that nostalgic hole that all the 2020 fans are feeling now that all the champions are gone. And we had Israel and we had Usman and we had you, and you guys were just pumping out title fights every 3 months. It'll fill that void again. So, as long as Volk goes in with his original game plan and doesn't try and stand there and kickbox CKB style, Alexander Volkanovski will be winning the belt again. That is my prediction. I think he is going to have enough fight IQ to know where he's good at these days and to know where he's not so good at these days. So I am going to be backing Alexander Volkanovski 100%. Let me know what you think about that breakdown there in the comments. Do you think I've missed anything? Do you think I've overlooked anything? Put it down there in the comments for me. If this is your first time here, g'day, my name's Dougie. I make an MMA video every day of the week, Monday through Friday, and I go live at least 3 times a week. If you want to know when all that happens, hit that subscription button down there, that notification bell as well to know when you go live. If you're already on board with the channel, help the channel grow. We're pushing on. We're chasing down Anthony Smith in the subscription count. I'd love to get to Anthony Smith levels of YouTube success. That'd be awesome. So hit the like button and help me out with that. And if you're one of the paying members of the channel, thank you so bloody much. Your names are up on the next slide. And until then, I will see you all in the next video.